Okay, so why don't we begin with the news article or the announcement that we got about Scott Pilgrim versus the World anime series coming to Netflix. Now, this is big news, especially if you're a big fan of this film and then the comic. So the movie originally came out in 2010. Is directed by Edgar Wright and it stars all these actors that you see here: Michael Cera, Elizabeth Mary Winstead. Then we have Chris Evans and Brandon Routh. Those are the ones that I know from the top of my head. And so at the time, they weren't like really big stars per se yet. Michael Cera was a little big at that point, and Chris Evans was starting to get there. This was pre Captain America, so but he was in Fantastic Four, so he does have fame from that. So that movie came out. It didn't really do that well when it initially came out, but it kind of became a bit of a cult, a following, and so forth. So I was a huge fan of this movie when it first came out, but I'll talk about the anime series in just a bit here. But Matthew, did you ever watch this movie?
Yeah, probably like 10 times as a young child, and I did watch it recently. And
Yeah.
it still holds up in my opinion, other than the fact that I don't like Michael Cera, but that's not the movie's fault.
Okay. So I know you were like 5 years old when this movie
Yeah.
came out because it came out in 2010. But yes, I really liked the movie when it first came out. Like I said, when I first saw it in the theater, it was kind of packed considering it. I mean, it was opening night. I don't think it was a big theater or a big screen, anyways, a big room at the time. So it did remember it was kind of packed. And a lot of people were really into it. There's a lot of reactions from the people. I think they were probably fans of either Edgar Wright or Michael Cera or maybe the comic itself. But I remember having a lot of fun with this movie, and I was surprised of how good it was. I really, really liked it. I think Matthew, I don't think you liked it as much as I did, but it's definitely one of the top movies out there. And I'm not a big fan of anime, so the fact that they're doing a anime with Scott Pilgrim series is gonna go to Netflix. I don't really care that it's an anime. I just like the fact that it's Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and we're getting the same cast, the main cast back, voicing obviously since it's an anime. But that alone, I'm very excited about that. So hopefully we'll get more information about release date and so on and so forth. So let's look at let's actually look at the source where we actually got this from. So this actually comes from IGN. So let me just try to find this real quick here. But Matthew, before we get into all that, um, you said you're not really a big fan of Michael Cera.
Yeah, not Michael Cera. I don't like his face. That's
You don't like his
I don't
face,
know. He's just has a very yeah
punchable.
yeah
Face?
punchable face. He's very
A very
punchable.
punchable face.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to find the article here. I think I had it here earlier, but of course I can't find it now. So let me see here. And you said you recently saw it, Matthew?
Yeah, maybe 6 months ago, which isn't that recent, but like recent as in like the last time I saw it wasn't as a child.
And what about the rest of the cast? What about your thoughts on Brie Larson and Chris Evans?
I didn't even, in my mind, I didn't even process that that was Brie Larson. Like I just thought it was some random actor until like I recently realized that it is Brie Larson, and I did not know that Brandon Routh was also in this.
Yeah, the Superman, the 2006
Yes.
Superman.
Also the Atom on the CW shows,
Oh, that's okay. That's right.
and the racist cop on The Rookie.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So let's see. So here we go. So here's the news article here. It says Netflix announces Scott Pilgrim anime starring Michael Cera and full movie cast. So what we have here, a Scott Pilgrim anime is on the way from Netflix, starring Michael Cera, Chris Evans, Brie Larson, and all the original movie cast as voice actors. A casting announcement trailer released on YouTube finally confirmed the long rumored series. Because I remember that I think they brought this up. I don't know if it was this source, which is IGN, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned earlier. IGN, they mentioned something about that Scott Pilgrim could return as an anime, and now we have this announcement a little over a year ago, because I think that initial announcement about speculating that there might be an anime, I think that was like in January of last year. So a little over a year, we actually have the official announcement. And we have here Caesar's Sarah is returning as the character Scott Pilgrim, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. They're back as Ramona Flowers alongside Mark Webber as Stephen Stills. He's the talent. Allison Pill as Kim Pine. Johnny Simmons as young Neil. Anna Kendrick as Stacy Pilgrim. Ellen Wong as Knives Chow. Aubrey Plaza as Julie Powers. Larson as Envy Adams. And Kieran Culkin as Wallace Wells. So let me see here. So Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she hasn't really been done. She hasn't done that many things lately that I recall here. I know she was in that terrible Harley Quinn movie, the one that has like a really long title. She's in that movie, and I don't really remember seeing her in anything recent. That this is probably the most recent thing, and I know she was in one of those Cloverfield movies, the
Oh.
10 Cloverfield Lane, which is the best one. But that one was several years ago too. But this is her in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. There's a very cool and fun scene there. And then we have the other cast that I mentioned earlier here. So we have we're actually Johnny Simmons, who was the character that plays young Neil. I haven't seen him in a while too, in any projects. Maybe he's in projects that I just haven't seen or something. Maybe some of the younger child shows or something that I don't watch. Maybe he's in that, but I haven't seen him in a long time in anything. And then we have Anna Kendrick, who plays Stacy Pilgrim, so she's coming back to this, obviously, as I mentioned earlier. And I think the last thing that I saw her in was in I think she did like one of those straight to stream movies, which we have a lot of those now. She plays I think it's kind of like a horror. I don't even know the name of the movie, but I just saw her somewhere a couple months ago that she was on one of those streaming platforms. And of course, she was in that Noel Disney Plus movie, which kind of sucked. So that was a couple years ago. But she was nominated for an Oscar, but I think that was actually before Scott Pilgrim. And then of course Chris Evans, we already know Chris Evans MCU and so forth. So he's coming back, so that's kind of cool. And then Brie Larson, she's also in the MCU, has since won an Oscar, so she's coming back. And then Brandon Routh, you already mentioned stuff about Brandon Routh. So the whole cast, or at least the main cast, is coming back. And let me finish and Aubrey Plaza. Aubrey Plaza is bigger now. She was just in White Lotus, so she was in that Child's Play reboot or whatever. So she's pretty popular, even more so now than before. So I'm glad that she's back as well. So we have here the show will also feature at least a few evil exes, as Evans is back as Lucas Lee alongside Satya Baba as Matthew Patel, Brandon Routh as Todd Ingram, Mae Whitman as Roxy Richter, and Jason Schwartzman as Gideon Graves. Now, he was kind of hilarious in that movie, so I'm glad he's back. We have original comic author Brian Lee O'Malley will executive produce, write, and act as showrunner alongside Ben David Grabinski, while Scott Pilgrim vs. the World co-writer, director, and producer Edgar Wright will serve as executive producer. Now, when they first mentioned that and they kind of started it off like that, I was thinking, is he coming back to co-write and direct as well? But then they said executive producer, so it kind of like my excitement fell down a little bit. The original creator Brian Lee O'Malley, along with writer Ben David Grabinski, have come up with an anime series of Scott Pilgrim that doesn't just expand the universe, but also, and then it says, well, just watch it. And then Edgar Wright says, I'm more than happy to announce that I have helped coax the entire original cast back to voice the characters on this epic new adventure. You are in for a treat. So again, that was Edgar Wright talking about this Scott Pilgrim versus the World anime series that is coming to Netflix. We don't know about a release date or anything like that. So I'm definitely excited for this. Maybe it'll come out by the end of the year, or maybe next year. I'm not entirely sure like how long it's gonna take them for the actual animation and stuff like that. But I'm definitely excited about this, and I'll keep you guys posted, on social media whenever there's more information about it, or whatever the case might be. So Matthew, overall, are you excited about this anime?
Not like particularly, but I'll definitely watch it when it comes out.
Oh, because you're a big fan of anime, right?
Not
Oh,
as much as I used to be,
oh,
but
okay.
yeah,
So, but I mean, Scott Pilgrim is not really
yeah.
that exciting to you, and you said your levels of anime and gone down a bit too. So I guess you're not really that excited about this, right?
Not that much. No, it's not really on my current radar.
Okay. All right. So that was it for the Scott Pilgrim announcement